Hey, Teresa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Teresa, can you see me?
No, not today, and probably not tomorrow either.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the public speaking video podcast. In this video podcast, we are gonna discover different ways of communicating, and also we are gonna learn about amazing toastmasters, because yes, this is a video podcast, an unofficial video podcast about extraordinary toastmasters, like the one that comes today with us, Teresa Roberts. I met Teresa Roberts some time ago, and recently in a division contest, I realized that she was the only woman taking part in the contest. There were 10 contestants and only one woman. That's one of the things we are gonna explore with her today. Another thing is knowing her better, because she's a brilliant speaker, a powerful woman, and she is partially blind. Hello, Teresa. How are you?
Hi, Julian.
Let me ask you one question.
Yeah.
When all these things happened and it was announced that we were going online, what was your first thought?
Oh dear. I didn't have any experience of going online and presenting online, so I did think it's going to be different. So I think for a short while I was a little bit worried, but I also realized that there'd be some advantages of being presenting online instead of in front of a live audience.
What are those advantages?
Well, one of my big things is getting to know my stage. So when I'm in front of a live audience, if a stage is raised up, there's also always a possibility of me falling off. At least here online, I'm not falling off anything.
How do you do it? Because, I saw you speaking in front of an audience, and you have your cane closed. You make sure that the chronometer is in the first row so you can see him or her. But
Yeah.
how do you organize yourself when you are doing an online speech?
I definitely do a lot of preparation, and I don't do my preparation alone. The good thing about Zoom is you can actually record yourself, or you can even have a live meeting with your friends. Then you can watch your recording back and see exactly where you think your gestures are not working. Are you using the space well, or are you stepping outside of a screen? Things like that. It does give you an opportunity to prepare, which I don't think normal face-to-face speaking in front of an audience you don't always have.
Would you say then that online speaking is better than public speaking, or what do you prefer?
I think both of them have their disadvantages and their advantages. I think in my case it's a little bit different with other people. Normally when I in front of an audience, I can't see them. So unless their feedback is vocal, I often speak and I have no idea whether my audience is with me or not. In fact, they could leave the room and go to the pub and I wouldn't know. But because I'm quite used to that, when I started speaking online now, you can't see or hear your audience most of the time, and you just need to trust yourself and be well prepared so that you know that they are giving feedback. You just can't hear it. It's not the easiest thing to present and stay enthusiastic if there's no energy or feedback from an audience.
That's right, that's right. You know, the world champion of public speaking, Manoj Bhaosetvan, wrote a book, and he says a very interesting anecdote. He was giving a speech in front of an audience and everybody liked it. But at the end of the meeting, a lady who was visually impaired approached him and told him that what was the prop he was showing. Because he was saying, "Can you see this?" And developed the speech about that. And he decided that from that moment he was not going to use props because part of his audience could not see them. So my question for you is, where do you stand with the use of props as a speaker and as a spectator?
I have to say, I believe in basically all things in speaking and most things in life. Everything has a good side and a bad side. You can use props to your advantage, or your prop can, if you don't use it right, can actually hinder the speech and actually detract from it, and the quality of the speech goes down. But props in the right place, in the right time, and used well, is extremely effective. I am visually impaired, I can't see props, so what I suggest to speakers is have a speech ready that can work without the prop. Because sometimes our props are electronic, like a slide or something like that. Or anything can happen that on the night the prop is not available. Can you still give the same speech? So if you do have a prop, it's a good habit to get into, to describe it verbally. Even if people can see it, describe it verbally. It's just like any other rhetorical device, that if you describe it verbally, you can actually add qualities to it. And in the same time, you make your whole speech accessible for everyone.
I think that's a really good point, and definitely I'm taking it on board because that's something that I've never thought about it. Let's talk about your performance in the latest division contest. How did it go?
I felt, I knew sometimes you just know after a speech if you're going to win or not. And I knew I wasn't going to win this one. I had technical difficulties, which I couldn't fix. And in the end, without going into too much detail, it felt like it really threw me off track. But I just, bite my tongue and went on. And I think, although it wasn't a winning speech on the day, I think I learned an incredible amount with what happened.
I think that's the beauty of Toastmasters. You try, you fail, but with that fail, you become stronger. Absolutely, yes. I have plenty of experience with that. You have said before that before the speak, preparation is key. Is there any other advice you will give to a beginner speaker?
Just like props, basically anything you use has an advantage and it has a disadvantage. The debate about whether to use notes or not, with me, falls away because I can't read them unless they're extremely large, and then they become awkward anyway. So I'm one of the speakers that, especially for a talk from 5 to 7 minutes, it's very possible to memorize it and be able to give it off the cuff, because I believe there, unfortunately, many speakers use notes wrong, and it affects other things like their gestures and their eye contact with the audience and so on. So if you are using anything to help you, make sure that it's actually a benefit. What I found is if you can prepare well enough to speak without notes, it's going to give you a bit more self-confidence as well.
Thank you very much. Now, this is the key question of the interview. Are women better than men at public speaking? Or better? Obviously, no. Let me rephrase the question. Are men better than women at public speaking?
No, but neither are women better than men. Since I've been in Toastmasters, I've seen it a lot that the contests seem to be more popular with the men, but then I have to ask myself, how many members of Toastmasters are male and how many members are female? And you should look at the ratio of that thing. So if there's, for every 100 people, 20 of them are female, then you're obviously only going to have a fifth of your contest female participants. But if it turns out that actually that's not the case, the ratio is far more even, then there must be a reason or reasons why. I often find with things like that, when groups seem to be, I don't think excluded is the right word, but not representative the way they ought to be, we can spend years and years looking at why. Why do more men take part? Why do more men have leadership positions in Toastmasters? But I don't think we should look at why. You can find so many reasons, and you can debate it for so long. For me, I would actually like to see action about it, and a very specific empowerment program should be established to make female speakers more comfortable with being in more tense situations like contests, to make them more competent and confident as leaders. And that will shine through. But I actually honestly believe it's, if you look at many other organizations across the globe, once they see that females are underrepresented, they would implement a program to empower those ladies. I honestly think it's something Toastmasters can look at. It can be a mentor system, and it can be, I think it can be practical, and I think as soon as you empower someone, their level of confidence rises. And the confidence is not fake. It's not because somebody told them, yep, you're really good, go for it. It's actually they believe it. And if you believe it, that will stick. And I think that's where we need to work at. We can
Teresa,
study the figures forever, hey, but
Teresa, what you are saying now is music to my eyes, because one of the reasons I'm doing this video podcast is to empower women, or try to set examples of women who have done great things in Toastmasters and empower them to do similar things or even better. Let me tell you what happened in my club. My club is Manchester Communicators. This is a new club, is at the moment 9 months old, and it grew very strong. At our best moment, we have, just before the pandemic, we have 46 members. Now with the pandemic, few people have decided not to renew. It's understandable. Economic situation is dire. But what strikes me is that in Manchester area there is 30% women, 70% men in Toastmasters. In the club Manchester Communicator, we got at some point 45-55%, which I was very proud. However, that percentage has dropped to 30% women now to 70 men. Now, my question, and this is what I'm doing this, when I think that if we get a woman, as you say, in a leading position, can act as a referent for other women and say, yes, I can do it, I can follow her example. However, I'm struggling to convince the brilliant women we have in our club to step up and take the president or VP role or the VP membership. And that's, I mean, it is true, it's unfair with them because we are a new club, we are only 9 months, but that's one of the questions I have for you. How Manchester communicators can empower and make these ladies step up so we hopefully get more women and more women follow the lead.
Yes, I love that you are looking into that. That is music to my ears. I believe that mentoring, that system is in place. I believe it can be used even better. When you offer someone a position and they feel a little bit weary, even for myself, I don't know if I can speak, but am I a leader? Can I contribute in that way? So as soon as you start to doubt, you are less possible to apply for any of those roles. But if you in the club can find, and it doesn't have to be in the club, find a mentor for the role, even before the role is filled, whether it's someone from your club or someone from another club, and you say, please, we are going to have a new VPE this year. I am hoping for that. Would you be interested in mentoring them in this position? So when somebody hears about the position, they can see there's already things put in place to make them feel, give them a little bit more confidence in taking the step forward.
Funnily enough, that's what other people have said. Funnily enough, is that what we are trying to implement. Funnily enough, we are very young yet, and we have not have that time to.
I personally, I would like to see internationally. I mean, obviously, you probably have to trial it locally, but I would like to see a leadership program specifically for females and for ladies, and I would like to see a contest just for ladies, an international speech contest like we have it, but only for ladies. And in this contest can be used as a tool for other people to mentor the ladies to become more confident speaking in contestant situations or any situation that might cause a bit more nerves. Because if you have a look across the globe, professional speakers are mainly men. But ladies have such brilliant attributes that are true to them, that they can bring to the stage, that they can bring to their presentations, which is not being utilized at all. So I think there's a bit of work to be done there.
I agree with you, seriously. Now, let's move to the next part of the interview where I'm going to give you some quick questions and you will have to answer with 1 to 2, 3 words, no more than that. The idea is to fit as many questions in 1 minute and hopefully by the end of the questions get you off guard and open up and say something that you didn't want to say or share with us before the interview. Okay, what is your favorite color?
Blue.
UK or South Africa?
UK.
What is your favorite food?
Boerewors.
What is that?
That is a South African sausage that we use at our barbecues. Very yummy.
What is your favorite Walt Disney character?
Elsa.
Which is your Toastmaster club?
Chester.
Is there any Toastmaster club apart from Chester that you would recommend to attend?
I'd actually recommend anything online at the moment. Make use of this opportunity.
How would you describe yourself?
Tenacious, stubborn, and independent.
There is a sentence you shared with me one time that says something about 3% visually. How is that sentence? Can you share it with us? That quote.
Oh, yes, 3% sight, 97% attitude.
If I tell you blind, broken, but brilliant, what would you tell me?
I would tell you that is my book coming out this summer, so keep your eyes peeled.
What is that book about?
It's my memoirs. So it's a book with a lot of heart and a lot of humor. And I'm hoping it will lift the spirits of those who read it.
I know Teresa, and whenever I hear her speaking, I can tell you that she's such a positive character. Teresa, it's been a pleasure to have you here. I hope you enjoy as much as I did.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Julian.
Okay.
You listen like I see.
Well, yes, that's true. That's true.